Hey, what's going on everyone? Today I'm bringing you a video comparing the Shimano Zodias to the Megabass Levante. One more thing before I begin, I want to say a huge thank you to my friends over at American Legacy Fishing for sending me the Megabass Levante that I will be using in today's video. These guys take care of each and every one of their customers like their family, so if you need anything, rod, reel, tackle, line, anything you might think of, head over to American Legacy Fishing. Both of these rods come in right around $200, which for me tends to be the sweet spot because you're not spending so much money that your bank account is killing you, but you're also not sacrificing on quality. I should start off by saying that both of these rods are 7-foot medium heavy, both rated for 3/8 to 1 ounce, so they are directly competing. $200, same length, same weight, same lure rating, so directly competing rods here. Now, this Shimano Zodias is my personal rod. I've had it for about a year now, and I've caught a ton of fish on it, and it's probably one of my favorite rods in my arsenal. So just looking at this rod, you could tell it is beautiful and it's really well put together. I love the black and red finish and accents. It just looks badass. Up here we have the X wrapping. It really stiffens up the rod for how thin the blank is. Just looking at this, it would look like it's a medium just based on the thickness alone, but this X wrapping really adds some backbone and some stiffness to the rod, so really like that. It actually allows the rod to be lighter for the size of it, so incredibly lightweight, and I'll get both of these rods on the scale so you can see that. Build quality, I have not had any issues with anything coming loose, has not given me any issues. The only thing I will say, sometimes on a hard cast or on a hook set, I'll hear like a clicking noise. Now I'm not too sure what that is. I don't know if it's the reel seat or maybe a guide, but like I said, it hasn't given me any functional issues, it's just a noise. And it might be disconcerting at times, but it hasn't given me any problems with falling apart or anything like that. Overall, I'm incredibly happy with the build quality of this rod. Now, onto the Levante. So I've been testing this rod for about a month now, and it's surprised me. When you first look at this rod, it is just stunning. You saw from the B-roll, it is incredibly good looking. When you look at this rod, you're like, man, this thing has to be $300-400. It's that nice. You can see down here the carbon fiber blank EVA foam handle. I love the reel nut. It is beautiful. And then onto the green blank. Again, build quality. Have not had any issues for the month that I've had it. I've wrenched on some fish. I use this rod for everything. Some light frogging, jigs, worms, Texas rigs, flipping, anything like that, just to see if it stands up to its tour versatile name. So I've been doing everything I could with it, and it's done everything decently well. Now, onto a very important detail, and that is weight and balance, and the two kind of go hand in hand. If you fish a lot, you know that weight is not everything. Balance is incredibly important, but if a rod is not balanced, it better be lightweight. So I will get both of these rods on a scale for you and show you what they weigh. Okay guys, so here I have my scale set up, and here is the Levante. Comes in at 5.2, and I'll do that one more time. Let it go back to 0. 5.2. Now we're gonna go with the Zodias. That comes in at 4.3, way lighter. And 4.3 again, so way lighter with the Zodias. So as you can see, the Zodias came in almost a full ounce lighter than the Levante, which is huge, especially because it also balances incredibly well, and I will show you that here in a second. Okay guys, on both of these rods, I have the Shimano Chronarch XG. Here's the Zodias. same exact reel, same weight, so I will show you how they balance. The Levante, if I remember correctly, is right about there. Now this is with a 6.5 ounce reel. If you put something heavier like a Corrado K, which is right around 7.7 to 8 ounces, it will balance slightly better, but it's not going to make a huge difference. So right there, about 1.5 inches in front of this reel nut right here, is where the Levante balances. Now, onto the Zodias. Bang. Right there, right in front of the reel nut. So the Zodias being an ounce lighter and balanced better, it genuinely feels like a feather in your hands. It's incredible. So how do they feel when you fish with them? I find that they both have a very similar tip and action. They both have a very similar backbone. So both of these rods can pretty much do the same things as each other. They're both rated for the same weights, like I said. I'd feel a little more comfortable. I feel like the Levante has just a touch more power to it. So like with the Zodias, I feel comfortable throwing a 3/8 to 5/16 ounce jig. The Levante, I was actually throwing a 1/2 ounce jig. So I feel a little more comfortable throwing something a little heavier on the Levante, whereas with the Zodias, I'd probably bump up to the heavy instead of the medium heavy to throw 1/2 ounce, 3/4 ounce, things like that. As far as sensitivity, both of these rods are incredibly sensitive, especially at this price point. You're not going to get any more sensitive than either of these without bumping up to an X-Pride or an Orochi or anything else in the $300 to $350 price point. I will say, the Zodias to me feels just a touch more sensitive. When you're working a bottom contact bait with the Zodias and it's perfectly balanced, anything that happens to throw off that balance, you feel it right away. Whereas with the Levante, as you're holding it with the tip up, working a jig or Texas rig, shaky head, anything like that, anything that happens on the other end, because it's already tip heavy, you're not going to feel it quite as well because you have that tip weighing the front down already. So in closing, I just want to say that this is purely my opinion and it's based on my experiences. You may prefer a lighter rod. You may prefer a rod that's a little more tip heavy based on what you're doing. If you're throwing moving baits, spinner baits, chatter baits, swim jigs, you might want a more tip heavy rod because you're working it with the tip down. If you're using more bottom contact, you might want the more balanced rod because it's easier on your wrist, it's easier as you're hopping that lure, imparting action. So you might want the more lightweight rod. If I were going just by build quality and looks alone, I would have to give it to the Levante because it is absolutely drop dead gorgeous and it just feels more solid in your hands than the Zodias. And I don't know if that's because it has a little more weight to it, whereas the Zodias, it feels like you're holding a toy. If you're fishing heavier stuff, if you're fishing moving baits, like I said, you might want to go with the Levante. Me personally, I fish a lot of finesse, I fish a lot of bottom contact. If I could only have one, it would be a tough choice. It would be by a slim margin. I would probably go with the Zodias, but again, the Levante is a great rod in its own right. If you want any of the gear that you saw today, head over to my friends at American Legacy Fishing. You can even join the community page on Facebook. If you have any questions about gear, you can message them directly and they will set you straight. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to keep up on any of my upcoming gear reviews, on the water fishing videos, or anything fishing related. Again, thank you, and I'll see you next time.